Hello, and welcome to another episode. This time we got 4 runs, so quite a lot to talk about, so we'll try to cover it quickly. First up is Sumireko. So Sumireko doesn't upload too often, but every time he does, it's an absolute delight. Great videos. So this one actually, there's quite a lot to talk about because I think a lot of newer Honkai players will have no idea what's going on. So I'll try to explain it as best I can, but let's watch it in full first, and then I'll replay it after, and then I can talk about all the little stuff that's happening. So this is a free-to-play setup with Night Squire, Drive Komita, and Starlit Astrologos. It uses the old school strategies of chaining together time fractures to stall the clock to allow Night Squire enough time to build SP and then finally use her ultimate. 3-1-1-4-6. Low score by today's standards. So back then, this would be extremely difficult to get. Yeah, the amount of precision in that is actually just insane. Okay, so let's restart, and then I'll pause it when I want to talk about certain things. Okay, we'll skip ahead a bit. Okay, so this probably doesn't matter for us now because Starlit Astrologos is so old. But back in late 2020 and early 2021, when people were starting this game, a lot of people would always tell you to not unlock her, I think it's her SSS skill, because that makes her charge attacks stun enemies. So the issue with that is if you use the charge attack, then it would actually stun Kalin and then prevent her from attacking you. So there is one point later on where the charge attack is used, so then it would have stunned the boss, so that's not good. The other thing that people tell you is to not level up your Whisperer's net, which is the red net you see in the ground here that Starlit Astrologos places when she does her ultimate evasion. So leveling that up actually increases the duration of the time fracture you get from the net when another character in the team steps into it. So there is a technique of extending time fractures, and it requires the net to be level 1 so it can minimize the time fracture duration of the net. I'm not going to go over the details of that in this video, but those are the requirements that Starlit Astrologos has. So people who unlock the SSS skill, which makes the charge attack stun, or leveled up their net higher, actually bricked their Starlit Astrologos from getting higher scores in Memorial Arena. So it was actually pretty big back in the day. So this run, you'll see Night Squire juggling time fractures between using her ultimate evasion, which causes a time fracture, and then before that time fracture expires, she will also move into the Whisperer's net and to extend the time fracture, and that's how the time fractures keep extending. So you see the ultimate evasion here. And then farms some more SP, and then goes into the net. So we repeat that loop again. Also, a Drive Komita causes a time fracture when she blocks. So that covers the gap between the switch-ins, since it Starlit Astrologos first, Drive Komita, and then Night Squire. Let me see, is this the point? Yeah, okay, so one thing is that rotation, DK went first before Starlit Astrologos, is because she had to precast, well, sort of precast, but she just has to hit the enemy to activate Newton B to put it on, I guess activate it and then put it on cooldown. So it's actually a pretty important detail. So that's the only time where the switch rotation changes, because it didn't go from Night Squire straight to Starlit Astrologos. So it went Night Squire, DK first, and then SA. And then now we'll loop back again. So you see Newton is actually still on cooldown right now, so it's not applied right away. and then she uses her weapon active, re-erase EX, and then Night Squire comes in, and then Newton will be applied right about now, so that you get more uptime from it, since the cooldown allowed it to be delayed a bit. So it's very, very technical run. Yeah, but it looks so badass, and the music complements it. So this is what Honkai used to be like, and there's a lot of people who miss the old days where it was very, very execution heavy. So thanks for sharing that with us. It's really awesome. Okay, so next one is by Smiley. So he did he loved playing Her Share of Thunder back in the day, and then since she is dead, it's time to move on to a new wife, Luna. So this is a Luna run on Parvati. So let's see how it goes. This is a almost 9S. Her Share of Truth is missing the last S. So no Eden, so I think it's going to be a elf reset loop. Yeah, there we go. Elf to reset Luna, so you get the Luna double entry. So 2 seconds phase 1, which is super fast. Not even using the boss mechanics, not even using Ignite. So Eden ult is used there, because whenever a bleed or paralyzed character uses ult, Luna gets extra breach. So Eden casting it there gives Luna the extra breach for the next rotation. So probably he'll skip the Eden ult in the first rot. Yeah, before you had to farm SP heavily in transition for AE to get her ult. Now it's just freestyling most of the time. It's crazy how much the game has changed. Yeah, so no Eden QTE again, so it's probably going to be an elf reset loop. And then, yeah, you have to refresh the ult here, since the ult only gives you the extra breach when you use Frenzy, and he used it in the first rot, so he has to refresh it again. Yeah, that's a lot simpler than I thought it would be, and also really, really fast. Didn't even need to use a Frenzy second time. Everything just fit within the first Frenzy. So the final score was, what was it? 39920. So I think Hua cap is 4-6. Yeah, so if you're feeling sandbagging a little bit and you actually have SSS Luna, you can try using Luna on this boss. It only gives up a little bit of points. It'll be something different than seeing like Fu Hua, like almost top 1 to 100, all Fu Hua. You can infiltrate the ranks with Luna just to add some variety. Okay, so the next run is actually, I'm going to swap the order of these. I'll do the Bilibili run after. So next one is by Riku. So this is for the recent Abyss with Parvati. This is an SS0 run. So I want to talk about this because I think a lot of SS0 players had issues with damage. So there's a couple things to look out for that I think will probably help immensely, because they're not super, super obvious and it's easy to miss. And then after this is actually another Fuha video, and I think that one is actually really, really useful. So I'll put more time into that one. So Riku's video. So this is SS0 Fuha, SS0 HTR, and then triple S Chrononavi, and then I think it's 4-star Kiana as well. So I'll skip ahead a little bit. So there's that one extra basic that Fuhua did right after the parry attack. It's just needed to get enough damage to get rid of the Frost Emperor. Two unlocks with Her Share of Truth to get SP. And then we do our first big rotation on the boss. So here's where I'm going to slow down the video to 0.5 times so that we can see what's going on. So Fu Hua came in with QTE, and then there's parry attack first. And then if you're SS rank, the parry attack can connect to basic 4, which is the multi-punch. So that's those punches. And then it'll also, and then after that you use normal 5, which is one single big punch. So there's a bit of a lag. She winds up, and then she does a single hit. So you see that's 403k. And then what is often overlooked is this punch, the normal 5, actually does 2 hits. So you don't want a weapon, I'm sorry, stance swap right now because you will lose the hit. So wait a little bit longer and you'll see Fu Hua fires a shockwave forward. Boom, that one. So that does 1,081k. So you definitely do not want to miss that. And that's where I think people are losing damage. So after this, you can stance swap the kick, and then you do the kick combo, and it's going to be a stance switch combo. So we'll go back to fist. Then you do the enhanced fist combo. And then another parry attack. And then it'll be the same thing again, normal 4, normal multi-punch, and then normal 5. So she does the wind up. Single hit, 451k, and then wait for the shockwave. So this is also important. Some people cancel with ult at this point, and they lose the big hit. So there's the big hit. So 1.2 million. This one did a bit more because he uses elf, so it's going to be a little bit stronger than the 1 million hit we saw earlier. So added together is a loss of 2 million damage if you do not let this come out. So it's very, very important. And then ult here. So I think that is mainly the issue that players are having. And then otherwise, Fu Hua is not too difficult, I think. That's the only not obvious thing that you can miss. So now go back to normal speed and then let the run play out. So damage is actually very tight on this run if you want to skip the very, very final parry attack. So Riku's elf timing was actually really good. He used it right before a normal 5, so he got the 2 hits of normal 5 elf buffed, and then the ult is buffed, and then it buffs this whole rotation, but he did play a little bit too slow. Whoops, I meant to pause there, but I kind of, mouse was not in the right spot. So he played the second rotation too slow because the elf actually expired. So on the uppercut, it's 2 million, so the elf is still active here, but he used the elf at I think 35 in the stage timer, so it expires at around 55. So it ticks to 55 while Hua's in midair, so it actually expires up here. And then you'll see these hits are actually weaker. So the smaller hits are 954k, and the big hit is about 1.4 million. So elf you can expect to usually see a 10% damage increase. So actually if I show you my run, I do have a little bit more attack, but it's like a 0.3 or 0.6% difference. So it's actually going to be pretty similar for 10 attack more through 8 fixes. Okay, so let me go here. So in my run, the small hits are a little bit over 1 million, and then the big hit is 1.5 million. So you can see it's about 10% more than this, because 10% more than this is another 95k. So round up to 100k, it should be 1,050k, right? So 1,030k, and then 1.4 here, 1.4 million, so another 140,000. So we should be seeing 1.54 or something. 1.51, yeah. So there's the almost 10%. So there's damage lost here because the second rotation is played a little bit slower. So that will affect your ability to skip the parry attack at the end. Yeah. But I believe even if this caught elf buff, he still might be short a little bit of damage, so it's actually an okay mistake this time. And then he does the extra parry here, and then ult. Yeah, so just make note not to miss the second hit of the normal 5 before the stance change and before your ultimate. And then if you want to use elf to buff both rotations, then be careful that you have to play the second rotation pretty quickly. Otherwise, the elf buff will drop off. Yeah, but it's actually very small difference between skipping the parry attack and adding it, because I think the parry attack is actually 4 points, if we quickly take a look. So let's see when the evasion goes off cooldown. So here, 815. And then okay, so it's actually 3 points because he kills at 812. So this 826 run, would just be 823 in that case. Yeah, so it's actually a very, very small cost to have to add the extra parry attack. Okay, so thank you, Riku. So last one is actually type counter Parvati and CN. So we'll be getting this later in this patch ourselves in global and in EU and also C. This is 513D, so it's very, very high. I want to cover this because it's an S2 run, and there's actually not that many S2 runs right now. So I think a lot of, well, I've seen a couple S2 players wondering what to do because there were no refs, and then they weren't sure whether their runs were good or not because they don't have anything to kind of compare against to see if they're missing anything. S2 is quite rare right now, so we'll maybe see more people make S2 videos in the future, but I think this one will actually help out a lot. There's a lot you can learn from it, and even if the Ds don't match, so you won't be able to do exactly the same thing. In fact, if you do exactly the same thing, your run will be probably slower since our disturbance is lower than CN's. But I think there's a lot of things happening in this video that you could probably take away from to build your own runs to get a good score. So that's why I want to cover it. It's really, really good gameplay. So Parvati's immune to ice, so the Divine Keys is guaranteed. It's going to be fire and then double SP. Because no point in having the ice one. So the opener is still the same. Yeah, so you can actually see, even though the disturbance is higher, this is a type counter Parvati, so he's actually a little bit weaker. So the SS rod actually works here for S2, even at 513D, so that's kind of nice. So here's where things will be, a lot of things happen, so it's important to pay close attention. So there's a sneaky switch to kick stance here. And then we do 2 unlocks with Hersha Truth again, and then she will actually ult first this time. The reason for that is because you get the breach first, so it'll buff eyes damage. So you get a little bit more damage out of this. But of course you get less breach duration since Bronya goes first. So you have to make sure that your rotation is not too long. So that's been accounted for in this run already. So this weapon swap earlier allows Fuhua to kick right away. And then still the stance change, and then the parry attack with fist. So parry attack with fist, I believe, does more damage, and it's probably also faster, I think, which is why it's saved for until after the stance change back to fist. And then the enhanced fist combo, and then ult. Yeah. So it's a very short, very quick rotation, since S2 does not have the ability to connect to basic 4th and 5th from the parry attack. So it's fine for Bronya to go first, because you'll fit everything within the breach anyway. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think anything special happens there. So just Bronya 2 unlocks. This is a no ult route. So the ults are not used on either character, just to save time. There's no need for it because the run will be 3 rotations in anyway. Yeah. So another thing I want to point out is Bronya's ult has or the transformation has a 15-second cooldown. So she's actually just still slightly on cooldown. So there's actually enough time to squeeze in a stance swap back to kick here. So that's why that happens before going to Bronya and transforming right away. Yeah. So you can sneak in those stance changes to save time. Yeah. So now when Fuhua comes in, she doesn't have to do the stance change. She'll kick right away. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of little tricks you can utilize to improve your score. Yeah, so Fuha's definitely one of the harder characters we've gotten in a while because she can do all these little things that can add up to a lot for the final score. So yeah, I hope you find this useful, and I'll add the link to this video in the description so you can refer to it when you're playing Fuhua cycles. A lot of tricks here that you can use. So Bronya ult first to buff eye damage, and sneaking in stance changes while waiting for cooldowns. One other thing, and this is really, really minimal, is the, where was it? Wait, I think it's here. Yes, here. Okay. So Bronya does a 2 unlock here. So it's really important to be mindful of exactly how much SP you need if you really want to optimize your runs. So the extra unlock here, one weapon is 4 team SP. Second one is 6 team SP. So added together is 10. And Fu Hua at the end. I think this is the only time she actually gets unlocked. Let me just quickly check. Okay, no, she does it twice. Okay, so the first one, double unlock is fine. So this one, double unlock, you could probably cut the second one and lose the 6 team SP because at the end, I believe Fu Hua has 106. So she actually did not need that extra 6 team SP. She would have exactly 100. So you can get like 1 point or maybe 2 points back from skipping the Bronya's second unlock that she does her like spear uppercut. It takes about 1 point, 1 to 2 points. You can get those points back. Yeah, it's a really, really minor optimization, but if you're thinking about playing competitive, these are the things that you'll definitely want to watch out for. Yeah, this is a really good run, so definitely come back to this if you need help for S2. And that's it. Thanks for watching.